My next guest this evening is John Wilder. He drove all the way down here from north of Sacramento, or let's see, it would be east of Sacramento, to come on the show this evening to talk to us about marketing. Not just marketing your business, but how you can be marketable as a politician. So thank you very much for joining me.
You're very welcome.
Come on a little bit closer to me. There we go. Great. I love your tie.
Thank you so much.
You have a business, a day job, okay, that I want to talk about. But I also see something sitting over here on the floor, which is your
banjo.
Night job, right?
It's one of my night jobs. Yeah, my banjo. Beautiful banjo, isn't it?
Yes, it's beautiful. And I hope that we get to hear you play it here in just a few minutes, because not only are you a marketer and you have a wonderful business with that, you also teach people how to conduct themselves in front of an audience,
right,
through experience, because you are an entertainer and you do market yourself. So tell us a little bit about that business.
Okay, well, I got started because I've been an entertainer since I was 10 years old, and I used to work on stage a lot and worked with a lot of singers, and had to get them engaged with the audience, because sometimes they would come out there and after about 3 or 4 minutes they'd finally start getting engaged, but you have to grab them at the very beginning.
Right.
You know, just like a speaker, if you get up there and you say, I want to thank so-and-so for having me, and I really enjoy, by that time you've lost the audience before you've gotten into your subject. If you can get right into the subject and you can talk right away about something that is concerning the audience and let them know that you have a way to solve that, and you're going to give them that day, then they're on the edge of their seats. They want, okay, what? And of course you have to deliver on that. So you don't want to say, I have a way to save the world and the world still ends.
Yeah. And you have to make it interesting. Before the show, you were talking about that combination word, education and entertainment.
Edutainment.
Yes.
Edutainment. And if you're going to be a speaker of any kind, you should be an entertainer. You have to be engaging to the audience, and that's why I say edutainment. You don't see many speakers that are up there that look like, yeah, I'm here, but I'd rather be watching the game, that get much interaction with the audience. So you want to be very entertaining. That doesn't mean start with a joke necessarily. You want to start with something that is engaging. If I said to you, if you're thinking, I don't like to be in front of an audience, which I can't imagine you thinking that. But if you were saying, I'm nervous getting in front of an audience, and I said to you, I can show you in 30 minutes how you can forever get rid of all that nervousness and be able to come in front of an audience with no nerves or problems. Wouldn't you be listening?
Oh, yes, I would. Okay, so give me an example. Okay, pretend that I'm like just a nervous wreck, and I look at the camera and I break out in a cold sweat and I can't even talk. Okay. Give me an example. So what can I do?
I would say the audience is not interested in you personally. The audience is interested in your message.
Okay.
You have to have a powerful message, and you have to let them know right away what you're going to answer. What are you going to accomplish for them? Not for you, for them. What are you going to accomplish for them? And if you let them know right away, I have a way to solve the problem you are experiencing, then they're going, yeah, I need to know that. And if I can get you convinced that your message is the important thing, and if you stutter a lot, or if you're saying like I just did a lot, that doesn't really matter as much as the message. You have to have a good message. You have to work out your message.
I went to Toastmasters and I paid I don't know how many quarters before I stopped saying and ah. But you were saying the other day that really that isn't as important as getting the audience engaged.
That's right. That's right. You can say and ah and still be very entertaining. Look at Mel Tillis. Mel Tillis, yes. He talks like this, but still he has thousands of fans because he's engaging. So it doesn't really matter that you have a lot of stuttering problems or that you can't think of the right word all the time. It matters that you have a good message.
And how do we get that good message? Because I'm here and I feel like I'm offering a service to the viewers, but sometimes I do feel like I'm a little stumbling here and there, and I can't quite get my message across. How can I get the message out there?
Imagine you are in the audience. What would you be thinking watching this show? What's my outcome is something that that Anthony Robbins always puts in his presentations. You don't do something without thinking ahead. What do I hope to have happen because of this? If I'm doing a presentation, what do I want them to know? And so then that keeps you on track. That keeps you on track. And a lot of people don't think about that. What do I want to accomplish?
Right.
They'll go out and do a thing like on television, and then they think, okay, I was on television. But what did it do for you? Did you want to get people to your website? Did you want to get people to know about your cause? Did you, and they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come off saying, well, I guess I wanted to, and I'm thinking, well, it's too late now. It's over. You should know before you get on.
Look at the time. It's 7 o'clock. It's too late. Yeah. Now, should you have footnotes to help you stay on track? Would that help a public speaker? Because I hear that public speaking is like feared more than death itself.
So they say, but
Yeah.
I think that very few people would say, no, kill me now. I don't want to go on.
Yeah.
I think that it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but people do get very nervous before they go on stage. One theater that I worked, as a matter of fact, I was heading backstage, and there was a magician that was going to be in the show. He had been performing for about 10 years, and he came out from backstage and threw up. And I said, oh, my God, are you sick? And he said, no, I always throw up before I go on. And I said, you've been working as an entertainer for 10 years. Maybe you should get into some other line of work. Come out,
Yeah.
throw up every time before you go on is not the best thing to do to calm your nerves.
Yeah, some people just can't get past it.
Right. But on the other hand, one thing you don't want to do is have a big meal right before you go eat, especially something that makes you lazy.
Like
You-
turkey.
Like turkey, yeah, with a lot of tryptophan in it, and then you get on stage and
Yeah, or a glass of wine. Don't have a glass of wine before going on.
glass of wine is excellent after the television show. But again, put your what's my outcome? What do I want to have happen? What do I want to get across to the audience? Put that together and have that really firm in your mind before you go on, and then you won't be off track. You may not say exactly the way that you said in your rehearsal when you were practicing, but you'll still be right on track. That's the most important thing, that you to get that message. And here's another thing: a lot of people will say, they want to tell you a concept, for example, and they will set the stage before they tell you the concept. So that's very nebulous, because that would be like if I said a big, green, flowing, bright, and then I got cut off. You still don't know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What if I said a dress that's big and green and flowing? Now you understand what those words are applying to. So when I worked with businesses, sometimes I would see their sales letters, and you could almost always improve a sales letter. Now it's more email, but same thing, by taking like the third paragraph and move it to the top. Because by the third paragraph, they finally got around to talking what they wanted to say. And the first and second paragraph was usually niceties. Hi, how are you? I've been watching your stuff, and I really am impressed with you and all that. And people are reading that going, when is he going to get to the point?
And talking about politicians, we were talking about that earlier
Yes.
this evening. Sometimes they do go on and on and on, and you forget what the point is.
Right.
So what has been your advice to the politicians with what you've been saying? Get to the point?
Get to the point. Don't spend too much time on one point, and decide what points you need to cover. And you were asking about an outline. Yes, you could have an outline of 2 or 3 points that you want to cover. If you want to cover 17 points, you probably ought to do about 5 shows, because you try to cover everything, you get nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But get your point, and maybe your 2 or 3 things you want to cover about it, and then you should move on to another thing, or ask for questions or whatever, because it shouldn't take you that long to describe one concept.
So enough detail to engage, but not so much detail that puts people to sleep.
Right. And the first thing you say has got to be something that grabs them and says, here's something that you need, and I have the answer for you. And then they'll listen to you. The other thing is testimonials. When you're speaking live, you can't necessarily bring in people that are going to say, yeah, I worked with him, and but you can at least talk about people that you've helped and what happened because of it. If you could get some actual testimonials anytime, that's worth 1,000% of anything you say.
So being a good storyteller plays into it as well.
Of course. We're all raised on stories. A story, anytime someone says, I'm going to tell you a story, you go, oh, really? And unless it's a bad story, you're very engaged.
But the story has to be interesting, too.
Right. And
do you think that the once upon a time always kind of got us engaged immediately because it was in a land far, far away or something?
I think so, yeah. You're trained right from the beginning that story time is a pleasant thing. So you're going to go listen to your mother talk or whatever, and she tells you a story, and that's always fun. They don't tell you stories about, like the old fairy tales where there were
grim.
They're grim fairy tales. Yeah, but it's a very pleasant thing. That several generations of Americans been raised that story time is a great time. So if you can relate what you're telling to a story, that's a great way to keep the attention of the audience.
I was just going to say, you brought up a great point, because sometimes I see people running for office, and the person who may be more qualified may not get elected, but
Right.
the better storyteller does. The one who's telling the grim story may not get elected, and the one telling the story with the happily ever after does.
Right.
Do you see that?
I do. I think that if you're the type of person that says you should elect me not because I'm better, but because he's so bad, you might get attention, but you're not likely to get elected, because anytime that you're saying bad things about someone, everyone is thinking, okay, well, you're talking about them now, but you'd probably be talking about me the same way if I wasn't here. So it works in person to person, and it works when you're on stage. If you're saying bad things about somebody, then
But why
you're
did
creating.
why did it work so good with Henny Youngman and Jack Benny? I mean, that's all they did.
But it's a joke. People know that it's a joke. Like they're what's his name? The guy that always.
Will Rogers?
No, but he's another good example. But he insults everybody.
Rickles?
Yes, Don Rickles. Don Rickles insults everybody, but
Rodney Dangerfield?
yeah, you know that he loves everybody, and he's doing that just to be funny, and then he comes back and he says, no, you know that I love you. But it's over,
Yeah.
You've been in it too long, you got to get out now.
Yeah, I saw that show.
Yeah.
Well, at least one of them.
yeah, probably use that in every show that he ever did. But he's doing it in jest, and he actually loves the people. But that's a very dangerous way to approach it, because if you're saying, well, I'm just doing this in jest, and it's not obvious.
Yes, it's when it's not obvious that it can
Right.
be extremely detrimental.
Right.
Because what may be funny to one person is very offensive to another. So comedy, I think, is even a more tightrope to walk than being serious.
Comedy is probably among the most difficult, because you have to know your audience. Like, let's say that you had a joke that made fun of a football team, and you told that joke to the people who like the opposing team. Well, they'll think that's hilarious. You tell the same joke to a group of people that are not into football, they might think it's mildly funny, but it's not especially funny. You tell it to the people that are fans of the team that you're making fun of, and they might want to beat you up on the way out. They don't think it's funny at all. So, same joke, different audience. It makes a big difference.
So you got to know your audience
You
as
have
well.
to know your audience to do comedy well. And it's better to not do comedy if you're not really sure of how it works. That's why even the big comedians, they're on television, national television, but they still go to little comedy clubs that have 50 seats, and try out new material, because it doesn't matter there. If they tell a new joke and it bombs, so what? 50 people heard it. If they tell it on the Tonight Show,
yeah.
they probably never get on any of the network television again.
So be engaging, entertaining, educating, and
right
know
off the
your
bat,
audience.
Get in sync with them. Something that you know that they want to solve, and let them know that you have the answer to it.
So I need to know what it is that you want to solve and what you need the answer to. And then I will be able to engage you and entertain you and know my audience. And what was the other one?
I don't remember.
Engage, entertain. I got to get to the point right away.
Get to the point right away. But you should ask your audience and to write in, call in, whatever. Let you know what they want to hear, because when you can solve that, then your audience will be, yours for life.
And they'll come back time
Yeah,
after
and
time.
when a politician does that, what do you want solved? Instead of saying, here's what I want to solve, which if I said, I'm for building a new bridge across the river, you're probably thinking, well, yeah, sometimes it takes a long time to get across the river, but you don't understand why that's so imperative. But if instead I treat it like I'm a salesperson, then I would approach it by, think back all the times that you're on the south side of the river. You want to get to the north side of the river, and it's stop and go. How many times has that happened to you? And what if you had someone dying in your car, and the hospitals on the other side? And there's so many things that would be better about our city. You create all this pain, and you have the way to solve it.
So you associate with your audience as well.
Sure. You associate, again, you want to talk about what's important to your audience. It doesn't matter what's important to you, because they don't care. They don't care what's important to you. They care what's important to them, and they care about you when you are in sync with that.
Got it. Well, we have about 3 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we get in sync with the banjo, because John Wilder is from the Sacramento area. Actually, I think Folsom, right? Folsom, Lincoln?
No, Lincoln, actually.
Lincoln, okay.
But I'm actually performing a show in Folsom.
That's right. Tell us a little bit about your show, because I didn't want him to travel all the way down here without giving a plug for the show.
Okay, the show is called Nonsense 2, and it's a musical, all nuns in it, of course, very funny, a lot of really funny things, and I was not the original piano player, but I got a call like the day before the show that the piano player was sick, and I had to
Wait,
go.
this isn't a piano.
This is not a piano. I play also piano, but I didn't notice that you had one in here, so I brought the banjo.
I'm sorry. We're having our own party here. So okay. So Nonsense. So you're playing the piano, and where can we find that in Folsom?
That's at the Sutter Street Theater in Old Town Folsom. I don't have a number for the Sutter Street Theater on me, but there's a website, sutterstreettheater.com, and theater is spelled Theatre. It can also be spelled ER, but I don't think they have a website that has ER, so I don't know what that would take you to. But sutterstreettheater.com, and look up Nonsense 2 and come see me play. It's a really funny show.
Well, tonight in dedication of the Talk About Politics, John Wilder is going to play us off the air with the Stars and Stripes Forever. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. And the 4 guests that I've had so far is, let me see if I can repeat their names quickly, Michael Douglas, Jim Christensen, Philip Moyer, and John Wilder. Thank you for inviting us into your home this evening. I'm Athens Abell, on watch for you.
And here's Stars and Stripes Forever.